and welcome to Envision. I'm Deanne Conrad, Community Relations Supervisor for the Sioux Falls School District, and Dr. Brian Maher is our superintendent. We are talking about the legislative session. We are involved in the session in many different ways so that our voice regarding education can be heard. Any expectations that you have from the legislative session as it gets underway?
Well, certainly I'm excited about, I don't know if excited is the right word, but I'll go with that, excited about the session. You know, this is just my second legislative session to live through, and the first one was quite dynamic, and we were quite involved as a school district and really appreciated the outcome. So I think one of the biggest things I would say is, as a school district, we'll start this year where we ended last year, and that's at a position of gratitude for what came from the session, and really the dialogue and the interaction and the appreciation that we had last year for legislators reaching out to us, the governor's office reaching out to us, and us being really truly involved with the half-cent sales tax, but also many other things that happened last legislative session. So this legislative session will start with that position of gratitude. Now, from a more practical sense, I think one of the things that we'll be ever on the alert for this year is to make sure that what happened last year doesn't get undone this year. The state took such a colossal step forward last year. We want to make sure that we see the fruits of that labor come to fruition this year and in years to come. So our biggest thing that we'll be looking for is anything that looks to derail the good work that was done last year.
Right. And the collaboration between legislators and education officials, what does that look like? Because I know many times legislators are calling and asking questions of you, or you have the ear of legislators. That happens a lot during the session, but not just during the session. Also, I mean, it's an ongoing relationship.
You know, you're exactly right. I meet with many of our representatives from Sioux Falls and the Sioux Falls area one-on-one. Some of those conversations we initiate. Some of those conversations are initiated by the legislators themselves. So we really appreciate that dialogue and that opportunity, in many cases, just to be heard. Not necessarily that they'll follow what we say, but just to be heard and to make sure that they have an informed opinion. So I'm appreciative of that. I'm also appreciative when you get to know the legislators one-on-one, almost to a person. You realize that they're good people, they're good individuals, and they have a lot of things to weigh before you get to vote one way or the other in peer. So it's good to develop those personal relationships, and I think for the most part, and honestly, I can't think of a situation where we don't have a good relationship with individual legislators, and so I really appreciate having the ability to dialogue, whether that's through email or phone conversation or live and in person. That's been a good thing.
Right. We see the work of our school board members and the service that they provide to our school district and the legislators on a grander scale on everything from education to transportation to, you know, healthcare in the state and things like that. So certainly we appreciate the role that they have in building our state and continuing to move it forward, and specifically in the area of education, but generally in all areas of interest to our citizens.
You know, you bring up a really good point there. One of the things that we're also reminded of is we're part of an ecosystem here in the city of Sioux Falls. Not only do we have the ear of our legislators, but we also are influential in and influenced upon by the Chamber of Commerce and other entities. So we're not an island. We're not just a K-12 school district concerned with only ourselves. We're part of a bigger process in the city, and then also a bigger process in the state of South Dakota. And the relationships and the opportunities we have to work on items of mutual interest really is a good thing for not only us, but for our city and for our state.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for joining us today on Envision. I'm sure there'll be more to come on this year's legislative session.